All right. So in the little market overview today, I think it's a kind of luckily, I think it's a great day to have a market overview because I think it's at a decision point of where the market's going to go. Um, we have a lot of administration stuff going on with tariffs and all this, but we know Trump, okay? If you don't like Trump's tariffs or whatever, you just need to know in the first 4 years of Trump, his market, not Biden's market, from tariffs and everything, outpaced all but three presidents per year or per return per year, and none of them are in the modern day. Okay, way more than Biden, but so I think and I don't think it was because of his stuff was really good or anything. I just think he wants people to like him to include the market, because that's just this metric of that he does good. So I think he will use everything in his power, regardless, to make that go up. Okay. If he has to screw over everyone on the planet, I think that would happen. But that being said, it is Trump. He could come out and tweet some craziness like, it's Trump. We never know, right? Um, but at the daily side, right here, I'm going to show you something that we use as the sauce. And you can see we have this little cross the previous day. So I'm going to get rid of these VWAPs real quick so they don't get in your way. So it looks a little bit cleaner. And let's grab that. Those are my speed limits. We'll remove those two. All right. So you just see those lines. Now, what the sauce is and everything, how it is, don't worry about that. It was made to be an okay crossover. Uh, where actually on the daily chart 20 years ago, it was the money or most money making one there was in the history, right? We just tested it and ran every possible crossover there was, every three crossovers, everything. It was the most profitable by a very small margin. Okay. So the difference between this and another one, and then a thousand other ones was only like a fraction of a percent. All right. But when this crossed over right here, you can see I also have it on an eight. A lot of people know that I run a 13 instead of an eight. We kind of got a little bit more what do you call it? I guess volatile in the market, really with Obama at the end of Obama's, I think what was a bad year? Like, was it 2016 or whatnot? Or not 2016, 2014 or whatnot. But, and it started going just volatile like crazy. And I don't think it was the market as much as the options, right? People started trading options. So now how big banks make their money is trading options. They buy and sell those options like crazy. You can look at the cash flow that goes in and out of options. The value is higher in SPY options than in the equity, right? So there's more purchasing power sent through the options than there is the equity by far. All right. So here we go. All right. So with this crossing over right here, you see the little move above it, and then that little cross right there, and then the bounce up. And my theory is this, and we can look at this at a 13, which we'll change later, is if this stays above this, so it doesn't close below, if it closes once and the next day stays below it, I believe we will go down. How far, I don't know, but I will be looking to collar and protect my shares again. Okay. My shares have been released and been protected. I think I'm on a daily. No, but been protected. I protected them up here when that closed. I thought this was the bottom when it moved up, released them, and now I made a little bit of money going up. If this comes back below that, I'm going to release it. If it stays above this, where do you think it's going to go? It's going to be interactive. Since my live never wants to talk to me and they make me sit there and just talk to myself, I'll give you all a chance. Y'all can type it in chat. You can YouTube or whatever social media, or you can just unmute and say your answer. Where do you think it's going to go? You can use the indicator. It's actually not on here, but we'll add it if you come up with it. Or it's going to get added anyways. Let's see who wants to talk. On a daily chart, what do you think one of the most used indicators are? Most famous, it's actually an overlay. If you don't know, an indicator would be an indicator. An overlay would be up here. So, but we're not gonna, yeah, fix here. So what do you think it is? No, Bueller. What's the most famous indicator there is that everyone usually uses, regardless of what it is? It's an indicator of how well the market's doing or how. There you go, Tony B, the 200. So, looking at this, 200 would have ran right about here, slowed down. I bet you it's somewhere in this general area right here, right? Somewhere around there. Well, let's add it real quick. So let's go to add study, moving averages. Simple moving average. My default will be the 200. There it is. It's a simple moving average, right? So it's right there. So what I want to see is very simple for the simple moving average. Oh, if it pushes to this, I am not going to say, oh, this is great. All right. I'm going to look at this again. All right. And it might be one of those scenarios where you're like, are you going to release and collar and all this? I have a lot of stocks and this and that. Okay. So I can't just be buying and selling all of the protection, but I can in my spy stuff, or if I'm able to protect it in other ways by the use of options, like a protected put or something. But I sell calls to buy puts when I can. But right now I have nothing. So this is what I expect to see. I'm going to try to draw this so you kind of understand what I want here. Now, and then we'll talk about which one I think is going to happen, which, I understand whatever I think doesn't mean anything because nobody knows what the market's going to do, to be honest. All right, so let's get a. All right. I don't know why it's not letting me annotate and draw on it, but I'm pretty sure it will pop up and let me draw when I don't want to draw on it. So there's that. it's it's hidden somewhere on my screen, I'm pretty sure, but that's not very good. I'm hitting annotate and it's not doing nothing. Zoom. Let me try. Nope. Hopes tools. Nope. It has disappeared. And it's up there. I'm hitting annotate. It's supposed to let me draw, but it's not. So whatever. We'll just draw it some weird way, okay? So we'll use you know what? I think what I have to do is maybe put it on the screen first and then annotate. We'll test that and see if it is user error. It's user error. All right. So if you're ever in Zoom and you can't annotate, it's because you're on the actual window or the application and not the whole screen. There we go. We learned something today. All right. So this is the pause. I'm going to turn this to green. So if this is going to go green, of course, it's just going to go up. It's going to stay above this line right here. Right. I'm going to actually draw that line right there, which, it likely kind of go like this, in some sort. Right. And the green line would be the candles. What I expect is just a move up, but whatever, to right here. That's going to be this little 200. If it breaks this, all right, and stays above it for like two or three candles, there is a high possibility we're going to test this high, the high, right? So, we look at that, that's going to be very well. If we look at the downside, I'm going to show you what that's going to look like, right? That is going to be, of course, a move below this blue line. Now, this blue line may vary because if it stays low and just hits it a bunch, it's going to stay down. If it goes up, it might go up. But basically, it will move below that blue line. Okay. Then where is it going to go? It could stay just a little bit and kind of teeter totter right there and try to like consolidate. You see that happen, then it pops either way. But anytime that really happens, I'm worried it's going to do something crazy. And if we look, when does it drop or move up? Like this one happened during the day. We kind of know that one. But a lot of time these major drops are overnight. And we don't want to get caught in that. So if this does come down here and close a day before and the next day it doesn't get above it, I'm fine of protecting my shares or hedging your bets at this point because you have two options. One option is that's going to continue to go down here and minimum hit 481. A lot of people thought it would stop up here. I said it was likely going to like 460, 450. I was off, but whatever. As it could still get there, but maybe a new low. We don't know what the tariffs are going to bring because everybody's like, "Oh, I've been tariffed. My prices are higher because of tariff." There hasn't been any tariffs. You're just lying now. Just stop it, right? But inflation is not really up. Projected inflation is up. But the last time I believed anyone's projection, you know, these are the same people that didn't put money into the market and project this. I don't care about them. They're not that bright. Just sorry. 99% of the people you see on TV are talking heads. They're journalists. They don't make any money. Okay. They suck at it. Just listen to what they put their money into and then go back or wait a year and see how much money they lost. It's a lot. All right. So this is what I'm worried about. So I'm going to protect it right here with collars if it gets below that and closes. It could be it closes right here and the next day it's way down there. I'm still going to protect it. Okay. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to miss an opportunity cost or I'm going to just miss out on some gains. I just want to protect what I have, right? Especially in a high volatility. Now, if this gets above this and keeps running, let's make it green. It could go all the way up here. So I don't want to protect it now just to be safe because it might run, right? But now what happens, Greg, if it hits this and it doesn't want to come back and it does this? I say, I don't, it's hard to, oh, well, I'm going to protect it now, and then unprotect it. No, that's just too much for me. Now, if you got 100 contract or 100 shares or something, fine, buy one option or sell one call and buy one put. That's fine. You could do that. I cannot do that for my portfolio. I'd be buying hundreds of hundreds or thousands of options in certain companies. So I'm not going to do that, especially because those companies really don't have the volume. They're not SPY. And I'll discuss where my money's at later. But so that's the point. So as long if it comes down here and does this, I'm just going to leave it alone, and I'm going to make my money where I usually make my money, my income. It's going to be day trading. Okay, and I'm not going to get into that. So these are the two things. If it breaks above the 200, which sounds simple, closes above the 200, you don't have to do anything. You just keep riding in it. If two confirm it, you can expect possibly higher highs. But in today's market, if it starts to go up, everyone will just it's the media kind of pushes everything, right? So is this down here for a good reason? I don't know. When it got down here, the media is like, it's the worst April ever. And then, right here, it was like, that's the largest comeback ever. You get what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? You know? It's kind of crazy. So just blow off all the noise. Don't listen to anything. If Trump says he's going to nuke someone, don't worry. He's not going to nuke anybody. If he says he's going to cure cancer, don't worry. He's not curing cancer. It's just talk. Everybody should understand this by now. He's a people pleaser, whether you like him or not. That's his whole goal. Try to play around people's reaction, right? People overreact negative, try to make money off that. They overreact positive, try to make, going to be that. Yeah. And someone says he's going to be the new pope. I mean, I'm not going to talk, I'm not Catholic, so I don't really care who the next pope is. So, all right. So, could be, I don't care if it was Trump or not. It'd be funny. All right. Although he can't be pope. All right. Here we go down. Yeah, that's it. Very simple, right? So if you have, and this could be a 10 EMA, a 10 SMA, whatever it is, find that line where you think, hey, this is it. We have, I'm going to kick off of these drawings real quick. Actually, I'm going to leave those drawings on and then move over to my trend line. Let me click it. If you look over here, I have this little price target that's right here. You see this? They're pretty much even. Make that almost zero-ish, right? So if this really does break, the first resistance or support is going to be right about there. So this would be a test. So if you wanted to be even more safe and secure, it closes below that. When it breaks below that, it's gone. Just don't worry. You can see target, 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 target. It's gone. If it gets below that, it's gone. Stays above that, maybe it just side steps and goes up. It's up to you whether or not you want to protect or you want to make a bet to the downside at this point. One candle below is not enough for me. So it's going to need to, I usually want three, but in this case, I'll probably hedge something with two. If I was going to buy an option or a put, I would probably want three or something. And a lot of times you're just not going to get it because it's going to drop so hard you don't get in it. Okay. So you just miss out. Don't worry about it. And if you do get in that and then it starts going up, it's not doing what you want to do. Get out. Do not hold the loser. You can make another trade another day. The same way, if it gets above this green, I do believe it will be a lot of positive and going up. Um, Things to talk about are Feds dropping rates. I don't really care about tariffs or anything like that. It's all been just noise, right? So I'm not really going to listen to that. Um, so that's about it. Dropping rates is really good. And it doesn't really matter. I think the market is overpriced where it is now. I thought it was really overpriced at 640, but you ever ask me, is the market overpriced? My answer is always going to be yes. I don't care if you ask me during 2008, I'll be like, yeah, it's a little overpriced, but it's definitely overpriced. Okay. So it is what it is, and I banged up Nvidia, and when Nvidia was going up, I was like, that is crazy. I didn't see that happening, by the way. But then when it got too high, I was like, it's making 70% margins. That's just not possible. I use this example all the time. If the kid next door is making 70% margin selling lemonade and making a killing on it, what are you going to do? You're going to sell effing lemonade too. It's 70% margin. But you're not going to sell your lemonade for $5. You're going to sell yours for $4. And although Nvidia has had, some whatever, they're not really issues, but this launch of their GPUs was awful, but they just don't care about it. They're just working on AI. They're going to get competitors, right? It's blank period. Everyone's going to compete with them. So those margins are going to have to come down as competitors enter because those competitors, although they might not be as good as Nvidia, will give a better cost evaluation of that, right? So that's what you want to look at. So that 70% just can't hold. Now, I don't know if that's why it's happening now. I thought it would be a little bit more about a year but that's just how it's been lately. Everybody's always hype AI, AI, AI. It's like when people bought what was the Virgin Galactic and the Origin or whatever space, whatever ticker that was. That had nothing to do with him. That was the worst gold sink company, whatever it was on the planet for going to space. People bought space because of SpaceX, right? That was it. SpaceX did good. Let me go buy this flagellant looking appendage, company over here and see what happened. No, right? So it's just, human behavior. Now a lot of people aren't like just blowing money on things because they think things might pull back. So you might not have all these crazy people throwing stuff at Nvidia. Just know they might be being a little bit more safe. I would explain, well, I would like to explain the fear of missing out real quick. You have a broker or someone that manages a fund. I go to that fund. You have that. There are going to be two managers. We're going to call them manager A and manager B. All right. Let me actually delete this annotation real quick. All right. And manager A manages your money and he takes high risk and Nvidia starts running, he buys it and he's up and he's up and he's up and he's up and he keeps buying all this high risk stuff. At the end of the year, you might be up, you might be down. Okay. The other guy does it sensible and tries to do whatever it is and make you money, 15% or this or this. And then over 10 years, let's just say they make the same amount of money. Which one would the average person go with? It's not the safe one, which is the one you should go with because you wouldn't have a lot of volatility. So, if you needed to pull money out, that would be the one. You'd go with this one. And it's the fear of missing out that they apply for because when they're brokers or salesmen, they have to get your money. And if they have it and they lose your money, are you going to move your money? Well, the problem is if everyone was chasing it, everyone lost. So when he calls you and say, yeah, it's just the market's doing bad, we'll get them next year. Everybody's losing money. And then you think, yeah, everybody is losing money. My friend lost money. The market's down, blah, 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 blah. And this guy over here didn't lose money, right? But you're never going to know that. But then here it is. The next year, The guy that lost money makes money. Let's say he makes 30% and this guy only makes 15%, and the market goes up, say 20%, and this guy only makes 15. When he tries to sell you, you're going to be like, well, you didn't make 20%. And he was like, I know, but the market lost 30% last year and we made money. And now I only made 15% this time. He's not going to care because everyone else made money that year. He doesn't understand last year you made money. And I would just like to say that people are MF stupid, and that's the problem. Okay. So all these people chasing these stocks when they start running, that's it. You think, oh, it's just retail. No, it's not. It's brokers chasing it because if they miss out, they have to explain to their investors and people why they didn't also get it. It's way easier to say, well, everybody lost rather than I didn't get the stock, right? And that's what we live in now. That's why everything is overpriced like crazy, and there's nothing you can really chase, right? It's just it is what it is. You see it all the time, right? You saw it when Disney released Disney Plus, like, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Disney's going to go to 500. It's going to be the best thing." I'm just sitting there like, "What?" Disney's major in revenue at that time, this was back 2017, 18 when they were about to launch it, when they were coming out with it, their number one revenue was TV ads. TV ads. But you're about to come out with a digital streaming service, which I think is good because you have to move into the future. One directly competes with the other. So if I'm taking this one over here that I'm going to lose money over for 5 years, that's going to bastardize the one that I'm making my most money with, do you think that company is going to do good? No. Anyone with common sense would say no. But the price went up like crazy. Of course, it came down crashing, but luckily we here, option players, made money both ways because we knew people were being stupid and we knew it was overpriced. But, that's the kind of scenario you got to look out for. And you know, you just got to chase those. So as this really moves up or down, you're going to hear the worst things on the news, CB, whatever it is, right? I promise you that news anchor on Fox or that news anchor on ABC knows absolutely nothing about the market. And those people that come on that are experts, they're not really experts. All they do is talk, talk, talk. And the ones that are like, oh, I'm a fund manager. Do you think the fund manager that's managing funds for, people are going to come out and say, yeah, the market's going to crash so you can sell your stuff and he loses money? Of course not. It's just, he's never going to tell you what he really thinks, right? That'd be stupid. So just know, just blow that off, follow something simple, and whatever your plan is, very simple. If it's not doing what you think or what you planned on, get out. Don't make a new plan. Just get out, reassess, learn from what you did, and then reapply. If you don't do that, you're going to do craziness and you're just likely going to lose it. If you're buying options, I highly suggest you use enough options to hurt. What I mean by that is if you just buy a little bit of options, you're like, oh, yeah, it's down. I don't care about that little bit of money. No, it should hurt. So you feel the pain. You're like, yeah, I don't want to go, this can't go down anymore. I can't survive it. And then you sell it. Or when it goes up a little, you're not like, oh, I don't care about that. That's no amount of money. It needs to be enough money, even if it goes in your favor. You're like, yeah, that's good. Right? Whatever that limit is. Small day trades, usually for me, it's like $100. When I'm trading 20 contracts, I'm really looking somewhere around the $200 mark, you know, but, and other marks, I don't really use percentages, but I will to represent, large amounts of money because they're all different. But I normally try to land that a little bit better, but we'll see. All right, so I said I was going to get rid of that annotation, and then I hit the X instead of the delete button before everybody starts drawing on my screen. Don't do it. All right, so we'll look at stocks that people want to look at and everything else. So if you have questions about the market, and I'm saying the market as the S&P 500, let me know now before we move off of this and go check out other stocks. And if you want to know which way the market is going to go, nobody knows that, or I'll be a trillionaire, right? So I'm just giving you my assumptions are based upon when you should get in or stay in, or when you should protect your stuff just from a risk management standpoint. Right. If I knew where it was going, I'd definitely tell you all to buy some crazy spread or something to make money off of it. No questions on the markets? All right. So we'll just go down the thing and hopefully Amazon. I don't know why Amazon's getting beat up, to be honest. Uh, Overpriced. It's like everything else. Um, Great company, logistical company. It will deliver all your goods for the foreseeable future. And the only competitor to Amazon in the world, to be honest, in this area that it competes in is Walmart. Nobody can compete with them but Walmart. And that's just because of the logistical side. They're not a store, they're not a website. They are now a logistical hub. If you start a business, you drop ship with Amazon, warehouse, or your own shipping department, but you sell it through a third party like Amazon or Walmart. That's just, it is what it is. And I don't know how many airplanes and trucks. I live in a very small town. We don't have much. Okay. It's not great, but there's an Amazon delivery service to us now that's actually about 40 minutes away, but some packages now will come from an Amazon driver. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. No, I live out in the middle of nowhere. Right. So for an Amazon driver to come to my house, they're doing good. You know what I'm saying? They're spreading the wealth because I mean, you know, our postman, our postwoman actually, uh, drives like a four-wheel drop Jeep with mudslingers on it because that's the only way you're going to get mail to half the people that live near me by the lake, right? But the Amazon truck comes. Everybody else does too, but not. This is the first time I ever saw an Amazon truck the other day. I even forgot what they brought me, but all right. Any questions, Amazon? I do owe Amazon, but not a lot, so don't worry about that. Intel. Sadly, it is my largest holding right now. I'm doing pretty decent with it. I'm not going to hate it. Um, it's a long hold for me. I'm not worried about it. I'm not buying options. You could do whatever you want. I own the shares and then I sell options against said shares. Very simple. That's all I care about. It's in a retirement style account, or you know, ta so I don't have to worry about taxes or anything. So I own the shares. I sell calls against them, so they're covered. I can do that in mine. So, and everybody's like, well, where do you sell your calls against it? All right. So we'll look at this right here and I'll give you an example. You could do it weekly. I just don't care to do it weekly. So I usually go about, you want to maximize uh, the curve of your theta. So I like to go about 45 days out and then sell them or buy them back or sell them or whatever I need to do about 15 days out. But you could just let them ride too if it's not really going in your scenario. So I can look out like 45 days. And this is because I just, oh, this is SPY, sorry. Right. And we said that it was at what, 22, right at 22. Go out to 22 and I can sell those for, let's just say 68, let's just say $70 to make it, or 70 cents to make it easy. Right. And you're like, well, that's not that much money. Well, first off, I own a lot of these shares, but, you know, what was it? 70? Was it really 70? Oh, that's a lot, actually. So that's 70 cents there for 45 days out. So you can use a trend line, just go this way, go out 45 days, and then you can just pause it right there and you can see where it's at. And then, you just delete it. So you think right here, it's not going to be above really this price, but it doesn't matter. If it gets above 22, you're still going to make the money from 20 to 22 because you're going to sell it at 22. So you're going to make a dollar 70 plus you're going to get to keep the credit. So if it makes it to 22 and you bought at 20 right now, what did you get if you get to 22? You got a dollar 70 plus 70 cents. You made 240. You made over 10% in 45 days. Stop complaining and do it. Now, if it goes down, what do you do? Well, you just lost $70 less. That's why I play this in retirement accounts because I don't want large changes in my account. I want them to be stable. I don't really care for buying bonds and selling bonds anymore because they're just crazy. A lot of people don't know how to do it, but you can easily do it like this and all your stuff. And you can do this with anything. So learn how to do that, right? I got you on that Tesla. It'll be in my list. Walmart, my favorite company. I don't own it anymore. I did sell it. We bought it back. I don't know how long ago. My the my way I don't want to say late wife. My my wife's late father passed away. Um, he was like, "Oh, what company should I get in?" And I was like, "Dude, just buy Walmart." It was beat down and everything. And he bought it like right here, you know. And then like the next day, it was like bloop, and I was like, "Oh, I feel stupid now." Like, it was like a week later, it dropped like 40%. But whatever. But it went up, still on it. Everything else, just had to wait a little bit, make a couple 100%. So just know I think it's overpriced, but it's not. By what I mean is Walmart is extremely has a lot of logistical. It's up there with that. It really puts Amazon to shame because in the back of Walmart now, they have all that. They can ship from every store, right? And they have their distribution centers. And what a lot of people don't understand is once you start getting robo taxis and things like that, and all this stuff starts to come in, that robo taxi just goes to Walmart, which can have a deal with Tesla or whoever. They put the groceries in it and drives it to your house, and you get the groceries. Walmart is going to be able to kill that, right? Well, Amazon will not because they don't have the people in the place to get an individual thing like that and then put it in right there, right? They would actually have to make that. I understand they have Whole Foods, but look, there ain't no Whole Foods within 5 million miles of me, okay? Like I don't even think there is one within 200 probably. I would have to probably yeah, it would take me an hour and a half minimum to get to a Whole Foods, right? So it's not going to work. All right. So Walmart's crushing that. They're the fastest growing online also. So if you ever look now, when you start searching for stuff on your phone, it pops up like, oh, this item, and you'll see it now. It'll be Amazon, Walmart. So if Amazon doesn't have it, Walmart might. And it's not Walmart, it's a third party through Amazon. But just like Amazon, there are scammers and Chinese like knockoffs and stuff on the site. They don't really do a very good job of policing that. That's one of the biggest threats to them. But other than that, Walmart prints money. It isn't going anywhere. If Walmart fails, our nation starves, period. It's more important than banks. All right. Let's see. We'll get to the good stuff. There you go, Tesla. Now, everybody wants to beat up Elon Musk, whether you like him or not, whether you got TDS or, you know, you are a MAGA guy. The guy's on the spectrum, but he's a genius. And I understand he doesn't invent everything, but he did invent something you use every day on your phone when you search for something and it pulls up all those little companies you want to go to, the nearest you. That's what Zip 2.0 did. This basically put companies and a map together on an online registered database so you could do that and then sold ads. So when you use that and you're like, oh, this is cool, top three, these are the best, just to know that they don't pay him, but they pay the people that bought that from him. That's where he made his money from. And he coded that. So he's pretty smart. Then cars, space, robots come out this year, by the way, or robots probably won't be sold this year, probably next year. I don't know what they're really saying, probably about 100,000 out. Um, and I'm not going to talk about what I talk about robots our thing when we know they're going to be super profitable. But yeah, ouch. If these robots are going to be able to do a little bit and probably 5 to 10 years are going to be able to do basically most standard small jobs like maids and things like that. They'll be able to easily replace them. So that's going to be a problem if you could buy a robot for $30,000 and get rid of your maid. Like you're going to save money and someone's going to lose a job. So, you know, if you're really worried about the market, Tesla, it's not Tesla's fault. Everybody's doing it, right? But Tesla is leading the way here, by the way. And they are a battery company at first and a software company second, and that might switch very soon. Or a wife, just kidding. That's what I'm talking about when we discuss in our thing. Their robots look like robots, but we know when robots are really going to take off. You know what it is. Yep, that's exactly it. Dirty minded people. All right, yeah. So I don't really know where this is going to go because a lot of people have been eating it up. The Tesla Model Y was the number one car sold in China last year. Uh, and then China comes out and goes, no, it was this company made sold the most. Yes, that company sold the most, but the Model Y Tesla sells a lot in China. Of course, those aren't made here, they're made in China. You know, if they make some in Europe, they're made in Europe. He doesn't really ship things overseas unless it's like a special car or something. So here in the United States, and I think Canada comes from the United States too, but you know, it's all made here. So as much as you want to, you can get a Tesla. I'm a fan of, and if you live in a city where people scratch your Tesla, you know, you can get a pickup truck and a duck blind, put it in the back of your pickup truck, go park it in a parking lot, and then park your Tesla across from it, load it up with some buckshot, and just sit there and wait for him to come. It's like good old hunting, you know, crazy hunting, you know. Yeah, might work. Rock salt, paintball. I don't know. You get in trouble for that? I think our cops would laugh around here. But especially if you put it in a little boat and then put it and then you hop out of the boat and get them. All right. Do whatever you got to do. So with this, I don't really have a say because you can't look at this chart and get mad that it's down, right? Because it's Tesla. I mean, let's, where did you, if you bought here, you're mad. If you bought down here, you're not so mad, you know, and like you're up 2000%, you know, like, and most people that got into the little bit that I do own is somewhere in this area, I guess. But because there was some here, was some over here, but it's very low. It's nothing to talk about. I don't really care about it. That's about it. I don't really know. I went to the wrong thing there, didn't I? Let me max this out. Yeah, there we go. Why did I go to the 2 minutes? So it's kind of the same thing with this as I was discussing. As this goes down, you see it hit that 200 and says, no, sir. It's back at that 200. It's just such a mental block to get above that. I think if the market breaks above 200, so will this. If it goes down, not. If you're looking for a car company that is going to, if tariffs do hit the auto, there's only one car company. Well, there's a couple. Toyotas, a lot of Toyotas and Hondas are also made in the United States, but their parts are a lot made in the United States. All your Fords, it's basically just an engine. Everything else is made somewhere else in here and like an IKEA put together. That goes for almost every American car. Uh, but or what you think American car is. Toyota, Honda, Tesla, your three top made US made companies. And their subsidiaries, you know, like Lexus or whatnot. So if that is the case, we're looking for it to get, if the market goes above it, I expect it to get above this. And then maybe not push up there, but at least kind of stay flat and see what happens and when something else comes out. Um, the big problem with Tesla and the great thing about Tesla is uh, Tesla controls the vast majority of EV networks. Okay. So whether you like him or not, I don't even, and you know, they I and there are some that he put up that the government bought that he put up the chargers, but the majority of them are not. I guess he could just stop everybody from using them, you know, I mean, somehow, not blame it on a tech or something. But you got to understand, if you use an EV, there's a good chance, you know, that when you're traveling, you might be stopping at a supercharger in a few states, Tesla one, because that's all we got. And I mean, I think Biden built like five of them or something for $80 billion, but you know, I don't know where those are. They're like somewhere, right? So I think we'll be living on Mars before the United States government can figure out how to build a solid network of anything. All right. So don't worry about that. But long-term growth, I think Tesla's going to be around forever, regardless of whoever is it in. Their robots and everything else are just going to be crazy. It's not my largest holding is actually, yeah, my largest holding is SpaceX, not Tesla. But I can't really show you that because you got to buy those shares, and if you don't know how to buy those shares, you probably can't buy those shares. Let's put it that way. Baba, yeah, I got your private message, and I got Baba before you, and then we'll look at Google there. Um, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. A lot of it could be due to U.S. currency changes also. So if the, if one gets overvalued, undervalued, it might actually change the US value of the stock. Uh, I don't really care for trading in Chinese companies, mainly because there's no way to know exactly what the numbers are at all. Alibaba could lie to you to your face. There's no way to go check. It's actually illegal for you to do surveillance and actually to check in China on companies, by the way. Now you're like, well, we can see their books. Are you silly? Like they don't care about that. So I'm not saying they're bad, but just understand that's every Chinese company, and there's a lot of them, right? If you want to go see a good flick, I don't know if it's still out or not. I always make my old students watch it to university. Just it's called China Hustle. Just watch it. It's old. It's 10 years old, but it's true, and it's still true today. Exactly what they do and how they do it, and the problems there. And it's probably instead of the tariffs versus tariffs things, it's not the issue. It's more of that there is no repercussion. If you, if a company in China lies about it and you invest in it and they're on the stock market, there's no repercussion. They just stole your money and you can never get it back. The United States can never get it back because China doesn't care, right? And you're not going to go to war over your money. They might go to war over someone else's money, but not yours. Right. So I don't really trust them. So I don't really touch them. They could be volatile, right? Uh, I think I would say last August or whatever, they were buying calls and just kept going down, just buying calls. And finally it worked. So kudos when you made your money, made all those losses back. Uh, nope. These are other people. Those are that. So we're going to look at Google. We'll switch it over here. Any, There's our C series. All right. Google's getting hit up because of the lawsuit. Now, how much do I know about that? I don't know. We're going to have to see what really comes out of the punishment. We know that the lawsuit came out, but we don't really know what they're going to make Apple and them do. All I know is which lobbyist paid who the most money. Okay. And the problem is Apple's not is in the background and they don't actually make it known. So I'm guessing since people are actually coming after them lately, we'll really see what it is. But now when you search for things, right, even if it's Google or whatnot, people are using AI more than they're using Google. And that's a large amount of Google's money, right? Is the actual search part. Although Alphabet has a million different companies, so they'll be okay, just probably not as high priced. So that's really hurting it. And that is on Apple's service side, right? So it might actually hurt Apple also, because I would say it's about $20 billion, is a lot for Apple, right? So, I mean, it's not a lot. I mean, Apple's going to make like 100 billion probably every year, but I mean, Google's providing them 20 billion of that probably. So just know that could be huge. How that's going to react to this stock, I think it's kind of silly to try to guess that. I think it goes back to the same thing we're talking about Tesla. The market goes up and this doesn't get overblown. We might see a little move up, but once again, how long have you held this? It's doing pretty good, right? So if we look at when did you buy it? Now, if you bought it over here and it loses 50%, you're still up dramatic a lot, right? There's really nothing you could do if you're fearing more losses than this. You can collar it, but that's just me. I would, any move below that 200, I'd definitely be collared. Actually, I'd probably be collared. Actually, I'd be collared right here because that's a move. That's a drop below. This is a weekly, so I'm lying to you. Let me show you on the daily. Well, I would not. I would have collared up here. Here's the cross touch. Boom. I would have collared right there if I owned it. So I would be able to sell it for 187 still. And whether or not I would have released it might have been somewhere around here, but then I probably just would have left it released. But they're still making money. This is what people don't understand. They're still making money. And you look at this and you're like, well, they made 281 a share. Well, yeah, okay. better than all these years. So they're still making the money. But this lawsuit is going to be hurtful, and we don't really know what the punishment's going to be. Okay. Uh, I don't know. I know all big companies probably stole a bunch of stuff to get where they're at and bought a bunch of small people out. But if you ever invent something, just know someone else is going to want to steal your idea and then complain to the government that you did it too good and it's unfair. Just life sucks. Okay. Let's get this. All right. What you want to know? Why do you always bring up this company? All right. I'm always like, how do you say it? But all right. I don't. Are we just really going to say, I don't know. I mean, I know with the company is a huge direct competitor like uh, Chat GPT and some other stuff, but I don't, I don't know from really what's that really going to go about and everything else. So I know earnings weren't really good, but that's just kind of what I heard when watching the CBN NBC. I'm looking at its financials. And I think a lot of these companies that probably don't have a lot of book value and they're just running up and they have some crazy evaluation, like there's no reason for it. I mean, so you can't really, they probably want to get bought out by a big company or something. It's just not going to happen, not at their valuation. So, but you never know, man. They got government contracts and everything else so we'll see. But Trump's already planned to take away the whatever, the chip, whatever it's called, allow everybody to have the chips. I mean, stupid. I mean, it's not like we make the chips. Germany makes the thing that can actually make the chips, and then they're made in Taiwan and then shipped to us. I guess we can make chips in a couple years, but it's silly. They're made in China. Things you don't think they can. All they got to do is get a deal with Germany, and they can make everything we can make. They probably already have it. Is the problem is most of that's not really required, right? And they all right. Yeah, I don't really know. The company looks like it's doing really well. Uh, I would expect this to actually, I mean, this is not I don't care what its earning was. It's not a real beat. I would expect it to pull back down, get down here. I wouldn't buy it unless it was, I would wait for it to get below this little red or slow like a 50 MA. And then when it popped up, get that. If you like the stock, you know something about it. But other than that, I don't really follow it, so I'm not going to dive deep into it. Financials look like an average overpriced tech company. I don't. There's nothing out there to say it's going bankrupt or anything, but I wouldn't trust it. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Um, I mean, cup and handles are all right, and actually, a lot of people don't understand a cup and handle, right? So I'm not a believer in any actual candlestick patterns, and the reason is statistically all of them are wrong, right? They have no practice. There's only one that is actually better than like a certain percentage of return money with a interest on it, and that is actually the cup and handle. So good thing to put that there, but it also has to be over. I forgot what the actual links of it was the last time the study was done, but I think it was like over 60 to 120 days, which this one seems to be perfectly in that, right? I don't know how many bars that is, but it looks like it's about 60, so 76 days. So you might see that. But it's still, this is a time when the market is will really play a lot because you need that money, right? You need that extra money to just throw at stuff. And if people don't think the market's going to go do great or anything, nobody's going to take a risk on this. They're going to put their money where safer money is because they don't want to lose it. So you kind of need the market to go up. If the market's not going up, I would say draw, do be a kindergartner, draw some lines. I don't care what it is and say, I'm not buying until it hits that red line. That's it. That's all I can tell you. The odds are that kindergartner's right. If it, I would find another stock unless for some reason you're buying it until it gets down there. If you own it up here, I'd probably be, I, I, everybody went into this ER thinking it was going to kill it or something. And it just shows you should never do that because this previous ER jumped up high and then it ran into the ER. Just don't do that. This one went down and was kind of even. This one went way up. Yeah, it's going to come. It's silly. Sell the, you know, buy the news, sell the event. Almost always. Just stay out of that crazy shit. It's not going to work. I got a couple more minutes before we knock out coin. I'm not a super fan of you know, Coinbase or anything like that. And the main reason is government interference, right? We can follow any technical thing. We can believe what anybody says. We can believe what Trump says. And then the next day, a politician changes their mind, and then the SEC makes up a random rule, right? That just screws over crypto. I think Bitcoin's stupid. I think it's just a waste of energy. And yes, it's a currency and it's worth money because people put value in it. That's it. But we spend enough power and all these unrenewable resources, coal and everything else on a bit on a coin that we could make with proof of ownership rather than proof of work. It's kind of it is what it is. It's a turn of the century style technology in a day where we've already advanced way past that, and it's just you could do it so different, so better, and but people won't get rid of it. But I don't know where it's going to. Bitcoin can go to 1 million, which is not what Coinbase is based on, but it will definitely do pretty good if it goes up. So we'll see how that really works out for them. If all the stuff really comes out and SEC and all this, they might do good. But the problem is when something gets regulated, okay, Coinbase is going to have what? Immediately when it's regulated and there's all these rules around it, and some banks already have. My brokers allow me to buy it. TradeStation allows me to buy it left and right. Are going to take over and they're going to allow you to just immediately right there buy or sell it through your bank, and Coinbase is going to get shit on by your local bank. Why? Coinbase has money, right? But it ain't got Bank of America money and customers and outreach, right? So just know any competitors is going to hurt Coinbase in some way. All right. We see it all the time, but we don't know what the regulation is going to be. Uh, I own Bitcoin, so I mean, it is what it is. At a way, like way lower price than where it's at. Like drop some digits, right? But it is what it is on that one. I think it's all government. Without really looking into it, most people that are in Bitcoin follow that because we saw Trump. I think I discussed it in early October, and then in November after the election, I thought that a lot of Bitcoins and stuff would do good because Trump was meeting with these individuals, and a lot of them were advisors and stuff. So at least he would have the idea and the understanding of how to actually make it well and not just screw it over. So we'll still see what comes out of that. But I think Bitcoin should be placed in the same scenario as a currency trade or gold trade and be a 1256 contract, so mark to market at the end of the year rather than an equity or a property. Because if it's not a currency, then there's a lot of issues legally that I think will come out, and they're just not been treating that way. But that's not Coinbase. We'll see what happens here. Um, I think it belongs to the market. It's going to go the same. I hate to say this, but you can see that 200 is sitting on this. Everything's crossing in the two. It looks just like SPY, right? I mean, let's be honest, it does. It's going to go where the market goes. And that's because 90% of these stocks are all bought by two companies, Vanguard and BlackRock. So when they buy some, when money goes to them, they just put some in it. When money goes away, they take some out, period. Right? That's what happens. Any more before we hop off? All right. So just a little kickback on this. Remember, if it gets back below, your sauce or whatnot, we're probably going to be pushing at least to this. And then when it breaks that, I expect some form down here. You can draw lines like a kindergartner too. And by the way, if I'm not making fun of kindergartners, I'm saying you can do all the analysis and everything you want to do and come up with a good idea. You can give a kindergartner a copy of that chart and a crown, and they'll be like, this thing connects the dots. And that dude will be right more than you. It's been proven over and over. Professional, not traders, but professional economists, professional brokers, everyone sat down, saw charts. They didn't know what the company was. They had the financials and everything about it. They filled out and they said, hey, this is what we think it's going to do over the next 10 years, blah, blah. And a kid just drew some lines and the kids beat him by like, it was like 5 times. It was incredible how crazy they won. Simple as stupid. So don't break that up. Right. That was about it. All right. So, everybody here, probably option players, but somehow if you got here and you're not, come over, it's, I guess, social media. Come over to optionplayers.com, hit up Steve and, talk and chat. I think there's some pretty cool things coming out in option players Steve's been talking about. So might have a new face soon. What I mean by face, I mean like website and stuff, but I don't know about that particularly what it will be or how it will work or anything like that. But stick around, see what we got. And if you want to learn more about the sauce or you want to, learn how to day trade like me, and you actually, especially if you like to talk, because I just sit there and talk to myself while 10 people just sit in silence. We make pretty good money. Um, uh, Trade for an hour and a half every or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know, I I would say you need money to trade. Coming in with like $500 is not the best thing. I mean, you can just DM me and we can talk, but you're not going to make money trading options with $500 like that. Yeah, it's kind of you're gambling at that point, I believe. You can, um, but if you have $500 and then you spend $100 or $200 to come into a course, you just lost 300 of the bucks, so uh, I usually tell people they need a few $1,000s because it's a mentality thing. If you're trading with small amounts of money, when you're down $50, you're just not going to think about it and you're just going to let it go to zero and you lost $50. But holy crap, that $50 was, 10% of your portfolio, right? But now, if, but you should, stop that loss. It's that mentality break I was talking about that I discuss every day to try to get people to follow the rules and make it hurt or make your win enjoyable. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to screw yourself over. All right. Yep. All right. Anyone else got anything? Well, thank you all for joining up with option players and then coming and listen to me ramble. Um, like anyone, I don't know what's going to happen, and there's always crazy things going around the world, and now it's not any better. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but the numbers don't lie. The job markets are crushing it. I mean, it could be like the Biden numbers that came out to be like 40% overinflated. Who knows? We never know. But everything looks pretty decent on paper, at least. And these are like not Republicans reporting it. So, It's kind of like a weird one. Is it actually going to work or not? So we'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see if it's going to work. But other than that, like I said, above these little lines, below that, keep that 200 in mind. Above that, I think we'll likely start to push up. But if you want my best opinion, I think we're going to go up here, hit that maybe, and then come down, not too much, and then kind of pander out. Uh, and why I'm saying that is although in the past decade or so, it's not been bad in the summer, but everybody knows, not everybody, I guess the saying is sell in May or, sell in May and go away. You know what I'm saying? So nobody holds, get out of it and get back in over here. So kind of what I'm saying. Right. And there's multiple reasons why that is actually a saying is because a lot of people would not work during this, teachers and whatnot, and they take their money here. So all that money that goes into the retirements and the ones that don't accept the payment year round, they accept it, whatever, 8 months or whatever. That all that money that doesn't work in here, and that's a lot of people, don't send money to taxes during this period of time, or not tax. I'm not taxes. I don't spend taxes either, but not into their retirement accounts, and then it starts back up here. So that's billions of dollars that actually start going in that are missing. But other than that, it's just you know, go away in May. So going into that, I'm kind of fearing if it does pop up on good news, it's going to at least settle down and just do some craziness. I don't know. I think we probably need to see another quarter before it really pops and runs. That's just my understanding. But I also don't care what I believe. I'm just going to follow my chart. Remember, above that, below that, that's it. And just follow it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll remember it next time. If I change my plan mid trade, I'm just going to remember I lost money. And then I'm going to say, well, crap. Well, I didn't even do what I wanted to do. So I didn't learn anything from it. So make sure you follow your plan. That way you can actually learn from your wins and your losses. Got it? All right. Well, I'll catch some of y'all on Friday and see everybody else in chat. Have a good evening.